Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Joining us today, for the last 70 years, we know that St. Luke's Health has given rise to some of the biggest medical breakthroughs in history. The health system started in 1954 and is known now as Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center. Since then, its growth to 8 inpatient hospitals in Greater Houston, from Spring to Lake Jackson. We are happy to welcome Michael Lawson, who is the president. He's the Houston market president of St. Luke's. So thank you so much for joining us today and our longstanding partnership with you and your team.
Thank you as well. It's an honor to be here. And I would just like to say that St. Luke's Health is a big supporter of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And I'm just excited to really speak with you as well as communicate with the community.
Well, thank you so much. And I know recently you all were our underwriter for the big luncheon and expo in Houston with approximately 2,000 attendees. And we were happy to promote the great work that you all do in our region. And again, we thank you for supporting business in this great city.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I just wanted to share with you that we have a great partnership with Baylor College of Medicine and our physicians. And I think it brings a lot of powerful access to care from a network standpoint because our physicians are so well known nationally. And I'm just excited that it'll be part of the Houston community to have access to in terms of all our patients.
Yes. And speaking of patients, of course, high quality, you're earning all types of accolades for this work. Share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so first I'd like to start by saying that Baylor College of Medicine and St. Luke's Medical Center is very well known for their quality of care. And I think that's important because I believe the patients deserve high quality of care and safety. And some of the accolades really begin with our cancer care. And we have a very well-known Dan Duncan Cancer Center, which is one of the top in the country. We have an NCI designation, and there's only 3 cancer centers in the state of Texas with this designation. And Common Spirit has over 150 hospitals. And here in Houston, our cancer program is the only NCI designated within the entire Common Spirit health system. So we're really, really excited about that. Some escalates that we are really proud of that are connected to quality. So we're ranked in News World Report as one of the top hospitals in the system within Common Spirit, but also across the nation. Also, CMS and Leapfrog has rated us related to high quality. And we have several hospitals that receive a grade A, but we also have several hospitals with a grade B. Any of those scores clearly indicate a high rating and quality, and we truly believe that's very important to our patients.
Yes, and certainly we applaud that, and how fortunate we are here in Houston to have you all making sure that you're taking care of patients. What else do you want folks to know about the work that you all are doing at St. Luke's?
Well, we have been nationally known. For example, we have a cardiovascular program, and this program made national news back in, I believe, 1968 by performing the first open heart transplant. And in addition to that, we also were the first to perform an artificial heart transplant. And in addition to that, we performed a valveless artificial heart for patients with end-stage heart failure. So this had never been done, and we're the first to do it. So we're really, really proud of that, but we're also proud of our neurology program, as well as, again, our oncology program, as well as our transplant program. These are some of our, I believe, competitive advantages in the market, and we're very proud of it.
As you should be. And certainly it's a warm welcome back to Houston to you, Michael. We're so excited to have you re-engage in our great city. And so just briefly tell folks a little bit about yourself, because so much of the success is the great team that you have in place every day. But it's certainly kudos to great leaders as yourself. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Michael.
Well, thank you for those kind words. And I'm glad you called out the team, because no leader is successful without a great team. So I first want to give kudos to all the great teams that I've worked with across Ohio, as well as here in Houston, Texas. But I'm originally from Ohio. I worked at the Cleveland Clinic for 24 and a half years, started out as an X-ray tech and worked my way all the way up to become Vice President of Cancer Services and then Vice President of Hospital Operations. I then moved on to an organization called Ohio Health. There, I was able to become the market president in 2017, and that experience allowed me to land an opportunity here in Houston. Now, I came to Houston 2 years ago because I have family here in Houston. So I purchased a home here 2 years ago, not realizing that an opportunity would open up at Common Spirit within Houston. So when I saw the opportunity, I thought it was a good move for me. And, you know, they say sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side. Well, it's greener on the other side. And I'm so honored to be part of Common Spirit, Baylor College of Medicine, and St. Luke's Medical Center. But most importantly, here serving the community of Houston, because it's such a big opportunity for us to improve access to care, reach more lives, and save more lives. So I'm just honored to be part of it.
We are honored to have you all as one of our corporate partners. Michael, to you and your team, thanks for all you do, and we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Happy to have one of our newest corporate partners on this call today. Joining us is the CEO of the company, which is so important to us, is Access Sciences, and he's going to tell you all about what they do and why it's important to you and your business. On that note, Steve, thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, thank you for having me, Laura. Just very happy to be here and happy to represent Access Sciences as a member of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you so much. And I know we had your team at the largest business luncheon and expo recently, and you all had your expo and we're meeting with a lot of different people and different businesses. So thank you for that. But maybe some folks have not heard of Access Sciences and what you do. So why don't you tell them?
Okay, so the headline basically is that we're a management consulting firm, an information management consulting firm that transforms a company's information chaos into business clarity. And what I mean by that is this. In any kind of a company, a government agency, a nonprofit, any kind of an organization, the vast majority of information that people deal with is that chaotic, free-form stuff that we call unstructured information content. You know, it's the Word documents, the Excel spreadsheets, it's the audio files, the video files, the emails, the PDFs, engineering drawings, all that stuff that doesn't fit nicely into databases. That's our realm. And what we do with that is we help our clients gain control of that unstructured content and transforming it into an asset so that they can make better decisions and gain insights into their business and just ultimately meet their business objectives. And we do that by creating the technical, the people, the process infrastructure that allows that information to be organized and controlled. And then with that in place, we also provide managed services where we can manage an information-centric portion of a client's business and manage the information through its life cycle so that the client can focus on what they do best.
Exactly. And so having said that, we know that the business world in your space is ever changing. So what are some of the things that are changing, and what are you all doing about it so that you can help support your clients?
Yeah. So change is not new in the world of information. It is it's always changing. We're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year as a company. And 40 years ago, we were dealing with information in a much different way than we are today. Back then, it was a lot of paper documents. And over that time, we evolved into electronic documents. But what's been happening really recently, for one thing, is just the volume of that content is exploding. Um, I find it fascinating that if you take all the information that's been created in the past 2 years, anywhere in the world, any kind of digital information, that is more information than has been created in all of human history up until 2 years ago. In fact, it's probably 4 to 5 times more information than in all of other information up to that point 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's one thing that's happening, is just the volume of information that people have to gain control on. The second thing that's happening is that the way that information is stored, manipulated, used is getting more sophisticated. A good example of that is, say, engineering drawings. Back in the day, we used to deal with the paper blueprints, the actual blue pieces of paper with the engineering drawings on them. And that evolved into computer-aided design, CAD drawings, which are electronic digital versions of these drawings. And more recently, that has evolved into something called building information modeling, which is now starting to take advantage of how a lot of information is related around the engineering drawings. So it's not only the 3D versions of the electronic CAD drawings, but it's also the materials that are used in it, and the schedule and cost materials and facilities management data and all that being integrated. So the relationships among information is getting more sophisticated. And then finally, the thing that everyone's hearing about now is artificial intelligence and machine learning and how that's exploding. In the world of information management, and particularly in unstructured content like we deal with, that's particularly coming true with what's called these large language models, things like ChatGPT, that can now go into your information and pull out summaries of information or extract content information, or AI systems that are really getting better at understanding the relationships among information and the context of that information. So that's the exploding world today. It's primarily around artificial intelligence.
And what is the opportunity, you think, as it relates to AI?
There are, you can't go to a conference these days without there being some topic on artificial intelligence, right? And there are really no lack of ideas about how AI can be used. I'm finding an interesting phenomenon, though. As I attend these conferences and listen to these topics on AI, everyone is talking about how AI is coming, AI is exploding, you need to use AI in your business. And everyone's got ideas on how that can be. But when I look around the room at the people listening to this thing, these talks, I'm hearing one common theme, and that is, yeah, I know AI is coming, but I don't know what that means for me yet. I can't picture it for me. And so what do I do with this knowledge about AI coming? And at Access Sciences, we think that one of the important things that you should be thinking about before you even think about what do I do with AI, and that is, how do I get ready for AI? There is so much to be done to be AI ready. And if you're not AI ready, it's not going to matter that you have AI tools. And there are so many things you can be doing to become AI ready. You could be you need first to get your technical ecosystem in order. The systems that store your information, your content, that's what the AI systems and the AI models are going to be hitting against. They're going to be going into your content and pulling information out and helping present it in new ways to you. But if that infrastructure is siloed, you have lots of information in lots of different places, they don't talk to each other, it's going to make it hard to do that. So one of the first things that a company really ought to be doing is figuring out how to get those repositories talking to each other, somewhat connected, or have the ability for something to connect all these repositories. And then you've got the content that sits in these repositories. And what can you be doing to get that ready for AI? one of the things you can be doing is to start automatically using AI itself to automatically classify your information so that you can tag it with information that will then make it easier for AI to use that information. So there's AI techniques for automatically classifying information. Also, you should be thinking about converting your legacy documents into AI readable documents. Some documents are not easy to read by AI. A good example of that is PDF documents that have been scanned using OCR, optical character recognition. Those systems are notoriously bad about making messy results that are hard to read. So there are AI technologies that can go in and read those PDF documents, pull out the text, look at documents that are in multiple columns with photographs interspersed in between them, and pull it out in a way that makes it digestible into an AI system. And then the last thing is to start building what's known as knowledge graphs around your information. These are connectors that link the relationships among information. You know, a good example that people might be able to relate to is the movie database, IMDb. If you ever go into IMDb and you want to look up a movie, you can find a movie and you can see who all the actors and actresses are in that movie. And then you can click on that actor or actress and you can see all the movies they've been in. Then you go to a movie and you say, where was this filmed? And you find the filming location. Then you say, well, what else has been filmed here? And it'll tell you all the different movies that have been filmed there. It can do that because all this information has been linked through a knowledge graph. And so if you can do that to your information, it's going to make it a lot easier for AI systems to use. And then finally, the last thing, probably the most important thing to be AI ready, is really to put some kind of governance policies in place to oversee the safe and ethical use of AI. You know, start by creating an AI governance committee that looks at things like usage policies. What is an appropriate way to use AI? What's an inappropriate way to use AI in my company? If you're going to be using your information content to train AI models, how do you make sure that you're not biasing the results with bad information? Can you create explainable models so that when AI does something, it's explainable about why it came up with the information, so you've got some comfort that it's coming up with good results? And then finally, oversight of just the overall ethical usage of AI. Am I using it for an ethical purpose? So these are all things that can be done before you even begin to put a tool in place.
Yes, and also it can be done with the support of Access Sciences. So just why we have you on this program is to say that you all have been doing this for a very long time. You work with very large corporations and businesses, quasi-governmental, et cetera. And so for more information, visit their website. Again, it's Access Sciences, Information Technology, and so much more. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. One of the great things about this chamber is that we are involved in so many different events, activities, etc. And so one of the great events that's coming up is something that you're going to be interested if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an executive, if you are an influencer, you want to be present. And you want to make sure that you make time to join us at a huge event that's taking place this September. And to talk about it is the CEO who's joining us here with Y, the letter Y, Texas, Ed Curtis, their CEO. Ed, thanks for joining us.
Dr. Laura, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the name. What is Y Texas?
You know, it's what you think, you know, when we came up with the term, it actually is used in a number of different ways, right? Why are you living in Texas? Why did you move to Texas? Why do you love Texas so much? It's a universal word and it gets people thinking. And as Texas is now becoming the capital of the United States with all sorts of business opportunities, it just gets people collaborating and talking about why they're here.
Absolutely. And speaking of collaborating, I know you have a lot of groups involved, including the Greater Houston Partnership, other groups. Tell us the people that you will be drawing and collaborating with.
Well, you know what, I think what makes our event unique is we're inviting a wide range of people to the event. You know, the idea is to build community around all of the opportunities in Texas, whether it's a startup company, whether it's a mayor, whether it's an economic development director, whether it's a CEO of a chamber like yourself, Dr. Laura, even CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. We never all get in the room together as equals, right? We're either listening to a panel from an executive or we're listening to a mayor talk about his or her initiatives. This is a way to put everyone on the same playing field and just talk about business and opportunities and build relationships.
So you're very passionate about this. We've had other conversations. What has been a driver for you to pull this together, and most recently in Dallas?
You know, I moved to Texas in 1993, a long time ago. I came from the East Coast, from New York. Like a lot of people, I didn't have plans to stay here. My plan was to come, go to school, get some experience, and then go back to Wall Street in New York. And that obviously never happened. But what I realized as soon as I got here, and I'm talking like within the first month, that it was a special place. It was, you know, I joke around, people made fun about my accent back then, but they also, the second question was, what do you do and how can I help you? So I really felt that the uniqueness and the true miracle of Texas is in its people and people wanting to solve problems and innovate. Yes. So as I've grown older and you know, grown my career, I really thought I could use this as an opportunity to have other people tell that Texas story so that if people are looking to move here or invest here, they understand it a little more. And for those that are already here that maybe haven't had a chance to visit Houston or Midland, they have an opportunity to learn more about that, meet those people. So I'm just passionate about the state and its welcoming environment.
Absolutely is. So you've been doing this for a while now. What is anything else that you'd like to share with the audience? Can they attend? Can they become sponsors, purchase tickets? Where do they go for more information?
Yeah, so first of all, we want this to be an annual event that goes on forever. And the host cities might change over the years, but we're committed to Houston for a few years and we're excited about it. Again, think of it as a combination of a conference, maybe even like an economic forum, and even a festival like South by Southwest or any others, where you'll experience showcases on the field at the stadium. You'll see videos on the Jumbotron. You'll be able to visit people at exhibit booths and learn about their different region, parts of Texas, meet with leaders. And we're so thankful that you're going to help be a keynote speaker at our event. Hear from people telling the story about why it's important that we are continuing to grow our state, welcome new people into it, and work collectively with everyone that's here. It's open to any business person that wants to attend. You could buy tickets online, or if you wanted to showcase and share your story, we'd love to talk to you about that too.
Great. And again, save the date, Wednesday, September 24th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's at our very own Denkin Park. We're still getting used to the new name. You guys may remember it as Minute Maid Park. Go online, get more information. Ed, our thanks to you and your team for bringing this to Houston, Texas. We are so excited to be part of it. We'll see you very soon. Thank you. Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us on our program today. It's with great pleasure that I introduce one of our newest board members who's doing a phenomenal job leading as Regional Senior Vice President of Comcast, and his name is Jose Espinel. Thank you so much, Jose, to you and your team. You've been great to the city. You've been great to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you for those kind words. My pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, you know, we love the work that you all do, and it's so important because we can't do anything without making sure that we've got connectivity, and the world and technology ever changing. I'm not sure how you guys keep up with it, but you do. So let's start there, right? What are some of the changes? How is it impacting your customers? And what are you guys doing to stay ahead of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the main thing is how much we rely today on the internet, right? You were mentioning that, and that dependence is growing by the minute. And if you think about it, it all started during the pandemic when everybody had to work remotely and study remotely. And as we're doing here today, we got really good at this, right? We got really good at virtual communications. But even beyond that, you think about how connected we are. And I wanted to ask you a question, Dr. Murillo. How many connected devices do you have at home?
I didn't realize it, but in a previous conversation I had with someone, it appears I have about 20.
20. Well, that's not far from the average. I think our average customer has about 36 connected devices, and that number continues to increase because we have more and more smart devices. Now we even have toasters that are connected to the internet. And again, it's not only the increase in that remote communication that we're seeing, the proliferation of connected devices, but also the type of content that is going through the network. It's evolving. So today, 70% of the traffic that we see in our Xfinity network is actually entertainment. If you think about all the live sports that are moving into streaming platforms, more applications, more use cases, we're seeing a dramatic increase in traffic. And year after year, that traffic is growing by double digits. And if you think about, especially here in the Houston area, when you think about the Rockets, the Astros, the Texans, and the World Cup that is coming next year, we know our customers are not going to want to miss any moment of all that live streaming action. And again, this is why it's important to have a network, a provider that can sustain all of that traffic. And we're very proud in Comcast to the fact that over the last decade we've spent about $80 billion in making sure that our network can sustain and anticipate all of those trends.
Yes, and not only that, but also I'm sure a great investment in being prepared for some of the natural disasters that our city and our country face that are out of your hands. So what are some of the proactive things that you all have done in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we talk about network, and we know that there's a lot of providers out there, right? There's a lot of competition, which is a great thing to our customers. But in my opinion, the most important thing is the overall experience that you provide our customers. So to that end, there's three particular things that I wanted to talk about. Is convergence, reliability, and security. So from a convergence point of view, and again, specifically talking about convergence between internet and mobile, some people don't know this, but actually 90% of the traffic that goes in our network between a mobile and our network is through a Wi-Fi connection. So again, with our company, people can enjoy not only at home great state-of-the-art gateways that we have for them, but also we have a network of 23 million hotspots that are out there for the public to use, for our customers to use. And the best part is that we've equipped those Wi-Fi hotspots with a technology that we call Power Boost that allows them to connect to a device with speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. So what that means is that whether you're sitting at home trying to stream your favorite movie or your favorite coffee shop, you can have the fastest and best reliable technology in Wi-Fi. Reliability is the other one, right? Because we know that nowadays for customers, having high reliability is at the top of the list. So I'll point out a couple of things. First, we're all the time monitoring the devices that we have in our network. We collect about 4,000 data points across in millions of devices every 20 minutes. And what that allows us to do is prioritize the bandwidth that we have for each connection so people can have the best experience. And I'll probably close on the security side, because not only you want a provider that, again, has convergence, have reliability, but cybersecurity is a big threat that we face. And how do we solve that at Comcast? We have teams of thousands of people that are experts in cybersecurity. They're monitoring our network all the time. And in the last 5 years, we've been able to block about 10 billion cyber attacks to devices that are connected to our network. That's billions with a B. And that's because we build security into our network. And that's basically, in essence, what we provide our customers. That's what it means to have the best experience, is that conversions, the reliability, and the security.
Wow. Well, I can see why you're so busy and your team is always out there communicating. And we are so thankful for that and so much more. And to have you on our board as a valued advisor has been very impactful and significant. And so I want to take just a few seconds for you to share with those folks who might be considering becoming corporate sponsors, your experience through your corporation and what value added the chamber has brought.
Absolutely. Yeah. First of all, I need to thank you, Dr. Murillo, because the work that you and the chamber do for our community, it's outstanding. It's not only our Hispanic businesses that, by the way, all of the small businesses that we serve in the chamber, those are going to become the large businesses in our community. So the impact that your organization have, and you're in particular as a great leader for our community, is outstanding. So for me, I mean, as a board member and as a representative of our company that truly believes in the importance of this segment, the connection with the chamber is extremely important for us. We want to continue creating upward mobility for our communities, and in that way, we celebrate the mission that you follow in the chamber.
Well, we thank you for that and for the outstanding individuals that are involved here at the chamber with us and with you. We thank you again for everything, and we appreciate you, Jose. Thanks so much. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So happy to be here at the KHOU 11 studios with none other than Laura Ward. You've seen her out in the community doing phenomenal things with the Houston's Children's Charities. Today, we're recognizing her as our Houston legend for the work she does in the community and so much more. Laura, thank you.
Well, thank you for the recognition. I've never been called a legend.
Well, you know what? Today is the day, and
Well,
it's been
very
long
kind of
overdue.
you. Very kind
You've
of
done
you.
some extraordinary work, but I think what had brought, so much joy to these families, and we see you at the galas, and we see you all dolled up and just always stunning and beautiful. But to see you with the families, awarding the vans, and seeing the smiles on those faces and the changes that will happen as a result of the foundation was touching. Thank you for inviting me to experience that and see that. And it takes a lot of people, but it takes a great leader. Why has this been your passion?
Well, I grew up one of 9 children, the second of 9 children in Louisiana. And we always had everything we needed. We didn't have everything we wanted because Mom and Dad were certainly focused on not giving us everything we wanted. But we lived in a rural area where most of the people around us, very many of them, did not have what they needed. And I learned at a young age in Catholic school that you give back. And then I would go home and I learned it at home because my mother and father were constantly doing little random acts of kindness on a daily basis. The stories are so many and the memories are so many. So I learned very young that that was a life's goal of our family, was to always share, whether we had a little or a lot. You just shared it. You gave some of it back.
Yes.
It was rather a service before self attitude in our house. And it went with me to college, and it went with me in my younger years when I was raising my children, and it stayed with me. It's always stayed with me that you have to do that.
Yes. And your years at LSU, would you ever think that you would be running a foundation, helping families? I mean, what did you think you were going to do when you were at LSU?
Well, when we were at LSU, I was in a sorority.
Okay.
And every Sunday we went to the Baton Rouge School for the Blind. And we had a play afternoon with the children.
Yes.
And it was, I looked forward to it all week. I loved Sunday afternoons. And then one Sunday afternoon, you could choose not to go. And I rarely chose that because I just looked forward to it so much.
Yeah.
So being the second of 9 children, you almost feel like you're running a charity at the house because you're doing for the younger ones every day, all day. So I never questioned the fact that this would be my life. Didn't realize it would turn into a career, Laura, and I've never been educated in it or schooled in it. I have no formal training in philanthropy or fundraising or any of it. I learned by doing. It was on-the-job training for me, and my very first fundraiser was 33 years ago in the gymnasium of my children's private school, and we had a $5 a plate spaghetti dinner.
There you go.
And I realized then I could ask people for money and they would give it to me if it was for a good cause.
Well, and
That's how it began.
And look at you now, having raised over $100 million. No small feat.
Well, it's daunting to hear it, but yeah, I have, and I'm very grateful. But you said something in the beginning. That money only came because of the village that was with me, behind me, and supported me. I've never raised a dollar alone. It always takes a village.
Yes.
And I'm hoping our young children realize that. That life is fleeting, but passion is not. Motivation can be fleeting, but inspiration is what stays. And if you're inspired by somebody or inspired by something, then that can't become a career. It can be your passion that becomes a career. I worry that our leaders today, my age, when we're gone, I worry that the level of philanthropy in Houston can sustain itself because it's needed.
Yes.
23% of our children, Laura, live at the poverty level in Houston, Harris County rather. That's daunting, 23%. And 20% of those children go to bed hungry every night. They're food insecure. They get one meal a day. It's normally at school. So I throw those figures out and I speak it all the time when I'm speaking to younger people or people across the board in Houston, that we need to mitigate the suffering and the difficulty that parents of these children wake up to every morning. It's our role to help those parents. They're the heroes.
Yes. They're
the heroes. They are the heroes, but we have to help them. We have to provide
Absolutely.
them with support and resource.
And speaking of support and resources, every year that I go to your gala, it seems like we're sardine in there ever more so, and people want to help. And it's everything from your board of directors to, I saw you guys were prepping all of the backpacks for back to school, and the smiles and the hard work that your team, you can see the smiles on their faces, but you also see the smiles on these families' faces. I mean, have there been any in particular that have just stayed with you? And you've got so many memories.
Well, the children, tomorrow we'll give away 4,500 backpacks, thanks to Rod Ryan, who raises all the money and has done this for us now for 15 years. That's what I'm talking about when I say inspiration is lasting. A 15-year commitment to any cause is truly inspiring.
Yes.
And the stories that stand out to me are the families that we will provide Christmas to the same family we give a backpack to the same family we give a van to. We embrace our families and we don't lose sight of our families. We don't forget them. We gave out 35 vans last year, and those 35 families became a part of our family.
Yes.
We check on them at Christmas. We check on them at Easter. We check on them for back to school. We don't just give the van and they drive away. They become part of the Houston Children's
Yes.
Charity family. And that's how our family has grown. You mentioned our gala, and our very lofty goal this year is that we will raise $4 million at our gala. And I don't know for certain, I'm looking for the numbers, but I don't think there's a local charity in Houston that is not affiliated with the arts, just a local charity that has ever raised $4 million in a single night. Mm-hmm. But we're going to do it because we're not going to stop till we do it. Once I announce a goal and set a goal,
It's done.
don't stop short.
It is done. Well, I know your team is going to, with their tennis shoes
we
and
have
whatever needs to happen on those phones, your board and others are going to rally to make that announcement.
They always
to
do.
say it is done. And I look forward to seeing that big smile on your face when
Thank
you
you,
get
Laura.
it done.
Thank you.
And it's just been a beautiful, just watch all of the things that you've been affiliated with. And of course, your marriage, a long-standing marriage to our beloved Dave Ward, and the recent sign that is dedicated, the
Yes.
street sign. That's been a journey for you as well.
Dave and I have been together 24 years now, and it's complex because Dave's life is huge. It's large. And my life wasn't as large when I married him. And mine, this charity has just been consuming.
Yes.
And the need has risen, exponentially year by year. Laura, when we first started a bed program, about 100,000 children a night were going to sleep on the floor. Today, it's 350,000 children every night in Houston, Texas, sleep on the floor. And that for me is so, I hate to say unacceptable, it seems trite. It's shocking. It's shocking that we sleep in our Tempur-Pedic beds and our wonderful beds. And I have the most wonderful mattress sponsor, Texas Mattress Makers, and makes the best mattresses in the world. And we give away 150 beds a month, and there's still 300,000 children a night sleeping on the floor. So yeah, it's my marriage to Dave has been complex because we both have such large lives, and sometimes just making time for it all is really difficult. Dave has been so supportive of Houston Children's Charity, and he remains on our advisory board.
Wow. We're so thankful that he's been such a big part of this city. And as you said, both of you with very large lives that have been so impactful for so many people. And I'm sure folks that you've not even met, that the charity has been absolutely a lifesaver, a game changer for. When you think of younger people, you mentioned it earlier, right? You're concerned about the next generation. We're seeing people, the priority is working from home, being remote, and perhaps not as engaged. What can we do as people who are already out there doing our part to pass on some of this knowledge to this younger generation?
Well, you hit a nail on the head that's sensitive to me. I understood during COVID that people had to work remotely, but it definitely has changed the fundraising landscape. It's changed the philanthropic landscape of Houston. If you're working remotely and you're not home, and you're at home, and you can't touch it, see it, and feel it, you won't remember it. And as I talk about, motivation is temporary, inspiration is consistently lasting. It's hard to get inspired just sitting at home in front of your computer working remotely. It is not difficult to be inspired when you do what you did and came to one of our van distributions and you see the families and you speak to them, but you wouldn't have been so touched that day if you watched it on television from your home. So I know the value of working remotely. I know the economics of it for corporations. I know all of it, but it has definitely changed the landscape for those people working remotely, embracing causes, because you have to be up close and personal to really be inspired by something. That's my feeling.
Yes.
I'm sure there are people watching that'll say, Laura, you're just wrong. But I've seen it. I'm dealing with it.
Well, and especially in the work that you do.
Right.
It is so very important to see it, to feel it, to understand all of the idiosyncrasies that are not involved in an email or behind a computer screen. So we see that.
Totally.
As we wrap up, I ask the last question to all of our Houston legends. And that question is, what would you like for your legacy to be?
Well, I heard you ask that question a few moments ago, so I thought, she's going to ask that question. I've not thought about it. I believe that you live your life and your life creates a legacy. I've never thought about leaving a legacy, but I go back to something that I read years ago that Mother Teresa said that one of my favorites. She said, not all of us can do great things, but each and every one of us can do small things with great love. And I absolutely love that. I've told it to my children. I tell it to everybody. It's one of my favorite quotes from Mother Teresa, who is one of my most inspirational people in my life. So I think if my children, my grandchildren, my friends, my family can look at the way I've lived life and take one small part of it and say, I'd like to do that, then that's my legacy.
Well, you've done it already.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks for all you do. Thank you for being a great, great inspiration to so many people in this great city that we have, which is Houston, Texas. And I can't wait to hear the final, we did it, of $4 million in the fall.
It'll be 4 million.
It will be, and maybe more. Thanks for joining us. As always, we're happy to bring you some very extraordinary people who've lived phenomenal lives and given back to this great city. And for this and more, we recognize Laura Ward as our Houston legend. Thanks for joining us.